Howdy folks, I'm Seething Salt Marsh Copper, saltily swerving past seedy sunflowers.
I'm Amber.
And here are more seedy sunflowers for us to swerve past. We thought they looked like a good idea at the time, but now we're seeing them for their true form. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Letting My Husband Relight My Daughter's Birthday Candles for My 3-year-old to Blow Out? I'm a 32-year-old female, and I have seen and read plenty of stories where spoiled kids have blown out other kids' candles or thrown a fit when they're not allowed to. My husband, a 35-year-old male, apparently has not. Friday was my daughter's 10th birthday. The day of, I will make them the food of their choice and a small cake, and the party is usually at a later date. After we got her cake ready, and my 3-year-old was very excited. I had explained to him throughout the day that it was his sister's birthday, not his, so he had to wait for the cake. We lit the candles, sang happy birthday, and she blew out the candles. This might be where I might have been the jerk. My husband grabbed the lighter and tried to relight them so that the baby could blow out the candles. I said no, it's daughter's birthday, and I refused to allow my son to be one of those spoiled kids that can't understand that it's not their day. His face fell immediately. He said that he was just trying to help and keep the baby happy. We dropped it there. He was kind of quiet the rest of the night. I didn't mean to come off as harsh. I just didn't want my daughter to feel like she had to share her day or that it wasn't all about her. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I think it is very important that OP's son learn early that not every day is about him. I do worry that OP's husband would be creating a pattern where, in the effort of keeping the baby happy, he babies the son and doesn't have him, learn like that not everything is for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, these are important life lessons for kids to take away, and they learn through experience that it isn't always about them. And I think that's important. I mean, it helps to develop empathy and stuff like that when kids realize that the world doesn't revolve around them. So I do think that it's important for kids to know and understand that not everything needs to be about them specifically. So I think that he was wrong to, try and do this, right? And yeah, I mean, I think that's really about it. I just don't think that there's too much more than that for this type of situation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Rehabilitated Jerk says, You're the jerk. You clearly had all of this thought out through the days and months in advance. It's not a hot button issue for you. You didn't mention it to your husband, and then you snapped at him for not knowing that he was supposed to do something. And Opie replies, We have 4 kids. The oldest is 14. There's been plenty of birthdays, and this has never happened. So I didn't think that it would. Therefore, I didn't think that I had to have a conversation about something like that.
And that there is a little concerning. It does seem like there's some favor. I was wondering about this, if like the older kids ever had something like this, and I'm concerned there's some favoritism there for the youngest,
Yeah, I mean, there could be some favoritism here. And Honey Flash says, This just raises more questions than it answers. If this was never a problem before, why were you preparing your son at this time? Why has your husband's behavior changed? Do you think that he prefers the baby? Are you thinking that the baby is spoiled? Is your husband still upset, and still have you not talked about it? What a weird situation. And OP replies, I was preparing him because he saw the cake in the morning when I brought it, and he wanted some. So I had to explain to him why we had to wait. I don't think that my husband's reaction was malicious. I think that he was thinking of what would make the youngest happy without considering anything else. He doesn't usually do favorites. I don't think that he's spoiled, but it is a very slippery slope. My husband seems to be okay now. He hasn't said anything to me on the matter, but he just got home from work, so we haven't had a chance to talk about it. We usually wait until the kids are in bed to have discussions on things that bother us or that we need to work on. So most likely tonight. I will bring it up and apologize for how I spoke to him, but also explain why I still stand by what I said. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for letting my daughter buy her own bras and not checking? So I'm a 32-year-old male and I have shared custody of my 13-year-old daughter. Earlier this week, we went to the mall since she hasn't been and asked me to go, and I was happy with how she's been doing in school. So midway through, after we hit a few stores, she asked me to go to Victoria's Secret. I asked her what she wanted, thinking something like perfume, and she said that she wanted bras that fit better. Not my area of expertise, so I asked one of the ladies in there if they could assist her. Gave my daughter my card to buy what she wanted, and I stood to the side outside of the store. She got what she wanted, and we continued our day. Yesterday, after I took my daughter to her mom's, I get a call from my daughter's mom, who is furious with me for letting my daughter buy sexy underwear. I'm like, what? What did she buy? And she tells me that she has a lacy bra. I asked if it was see-through, but she said no, but that it doesn't matter because lace in general is too much for a 13-year-old, and that I was crazy for not checking her bags. I said that I didn't think that I needed to help a teenage girl shop for underwear or bras or whatever, but she didn't want to hear it. I told her that I have a receipt and then said just send them back with her, my daughter, next time that I get her, and I'll see if I can return them. But I'm wondering if this was an oversight on my part. Our dad's supposed to be supervising bra choices. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I think OP handled this pretty appropriately. I mean, I would have been more concerned about the kid buying too much stuff with free reign of the credit card.
Yeah.
But I think letting children have autonomy over their undergarments is important. And there is nothing wrong with, 13-year-olds wearing lacy bras. I mean, it doesn't sound like it was, like he said, it wasn't see-through or anything. It was just a bra with a little bit of lace on it, And I mean, even then, like, if the clothes are staying on like people's bodies under their clothes, it doesn't matter what they look like so much. But like, I think the mom's being way too concerned about the daughter's underwear choices.
I mean, I understand where she's coming from to some small degree, right? I mean, I think she's concerned and upset, and it's kind of manifesting that her daughter is growing up, right? Now, the thing is that most teenagers just buy lacy, frilly things. Most teenage girls buy lacy, frilly things, and it doesn't mean that they're going to be going out and, being intimate with anyone or anything like that. What it means is that she liked the underwear and thought it was pretty, right? She probably didn't put any kind of connotation in there about this being for being intimate with anyone, right?
Well, I think people put way too much emphasis on the idea that that anytime a girl or a woman does something, it's inherently for a man.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just feels nice to, like, it's like a little confidence boost to know that you have on, like, cute underwear, or, like, it's just, like, a lot of people just like that feeling of knowing that, like, I've got this little thing and it makes me feel better about myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that OP wasn't wrong for how they handled the situation. I think that they handled it in a really appropriate way. One, what 13-year-old wants their father following them around Victoria's Secret to help them pick out underwear, right?
I mean, that's going to be so awkward and uncomfortable. Like, I would just run from the store and just, like, die.
Right. And two, like, he said, buy whatever you want, right? Like, she did, right? And it's, again, like, it's none of the parents' business to a pretty significant degree about what she's buying for underwear here, right? I mean, I could understand the wife being a little more concerned if it was like see-through underwear that was actually like lingerie and whatnot. That might be a little bit more of a concern. But given like that this seems like these were padded underwear that weren't, specifically for being intimate type of situations, I don't know. I don't think that OP did anything wrong there.
I mean, lace is just such a common embellishment on, because, Victoria's Secret's like line for the pink line for, younger, for girls and young women, it does tend to be very frilly and girly and feminine.
I mean, I think you would be hard pressed to not find ones with lace on them.
Yeah, like you can find some, but like, there are boring, basic, neutral colors. They're not unheard of, but so much of it is geared to be like bright and eye-catching and fun.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Nefarious Plant says, not the jerk. When I was about your daughter's age, my dad did a similar thing, and it caused a huge family blow-up, with my mom taking the bras away entirely. But I wasn't trying to buy sexy underwear. I was 13. Your daughter probably thought that the bras were pretty, and has no intention of showing them to other people, and not to be morbid or whatever, but by the time that you are showing someone your bra, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. You can have the same intimacy in a plain beige bra that you can have with a cute lacy one. If you and her mom are present in your daughter's life and talk honestly about sex and puberty, that'll make a way more meaningful difference in her life than what kind of bra she wore when she was 13. And KG44000 Sparkles says, I did the same thing at that age with similar result. Mine was a swimsuit. It was a one piece, but it was a sexy color. I had no idea, and my mom ripped into my dad and his whole side of the family. Huge blow up because I made my own choice and he didn't intervene. Not the jerk. And TinyD71 says, I think that it's great that your daughter feels comfortable expressing to you that she wants/needs to buy bras that fit. I would guess that she perhaps used this opportunity to express some typical teen behavior and purchase some items that she liked, that she knew or suspected that her mother wouldn't want her to purchase. That behavior seems developmentally appropriate to me. Maybe she played you a bit, but it sounds like you have a close and open relationship and don't think that you needed to supervise the bra choices, not the jerk. I mean, I think that OP really did a good job here. I really can't fault them on how they acted.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think the mom really needs to take a step back and recognize that the daughter just wants something fun.
Yeah.
No one wants to, not no one, but a lot of people just don't want to wear something really boring, even if it's underwear. People are drawn to bright colors and fancy details.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Boyfriend That I Don't Want Our Future Kids to Yes Sir Their Way Through Life? Okay, so this caused a whole mini explosion in our living room last night, and now I'm wondering if I overstepped a line. I'm a 22-year-old female, and I've been dating my boyfriend, a 25-year-old male, for just over a year. We recently started having those future talk conversations. Kids, marriage, values, all that deep stuff that makes you question if you're doing something or interviewing a co-parent. Anyways, we were watching a video with this little girl, maybe 7, stood up to her teacher for wrongly accusing her of cheating. She stayed calm, explained herself, and didn't back down even when the teacher threatened detention. My boyfriend scoffed and said if that were my kid, she would be grounded for disrespect. Kids today don't know how to obey anymore. That hit a nerve. I told him that I'd actually be proud if my daughter stood up for herself like that. That I didn't want to raise a kid who was so focused on being polite that they can't advocate for themselves, especially not a daughter, when society already trains girls to be agreeable at their own expense. He looked at me like I had just confessed to raising wolves. He goes, so you want your kids talking back to teachers? To us? That's how you raise delinquents. I said, no, I want them to think critically, to know when something is unfair and have the guts to speak up, even if it's to an adult. Obedience isn't a virtue if it comes at the cost of self-respect. Cue the argument. He says that I'm romanticizing disrespect and encouraging rebellion. I say that he is confusing obedience with discipline, and that blind submission isn't a goal of parenting. Now he's being distant ever since, and said that he's not sure that we're aligned on core values, which, okay, maybe we're not, but I would rather raise confident kids who question authority with respect than ones that nod their head and do what they're told just because someone said so. Am I the jerk for making this a hill to die on this early in our relationship? Or is he right that I'm setting up future kids to be brats in the name of empowerment? I feel torn because I get the need for rules and respect, but where's the line? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I think that Opie has a very reasonable approach to this. Kids need to understand that when they are being falsely accused of something, that they can speak up. You should not expect kids to just fall in line because I'm an adult, I have more power over you. That's very authoritarian and not teaching kids to be good people. It just teaches you, the only lesson that imbues is that whoever has the most power has the most authority and you have to bow down to them, and that's not a healthy mindset.
Well, I think that what his view is really unhealthy because it can encourage abuse and whatnot,
Yes.
right? Because what happens if a kid is being abused and has been taught to be submissive their whole life, and that you can't rebel against authority, and that the authority knows what's right, right?
Well, and imagine, let's say that OP's child was, abused by someone in authority and told them, and then OP's boyfriend would punish them if the authority figure is like, no, I didn't do that. The kid's just making it up. Like,
Yeah.
kids need to know that they can go to their parents when they are being mistreated. They need to know that they're going to have support.
Yeah. And as for his point of view, I mean, sure, kids should be taught how to respectfully disagree with authority, right? But there's a pretty big difference between blindly agreeing to authority and just, being a good advocate for themselves, right? Now, kids should be taught to be good advocates of themselves because in life, you need to know how to advocate for yourself. And kids that aren't taught how to advocate for themselves, can be put in some really bad and tricky situations, right? I mean, again, like this can lead to future abuse, abusive relationships, inability to say no in coercive situations. Like these are really important things to know how to do for kids. And I think that he has his opinions on how to raise kids and OP has their opinions, and I don't even think they are compatible.
No, I think that it's good that they found this out now so OP can find someone who's more aligned. I'm also concerned about the way he reacted to OP,
Yes.
all the basically putting words in her mouth
Yeah.
and trying to make it into something that she wasn't saying. Like, he was not approaching her from an open and honest place.
Yeah.
He was very dismissive. It makes me wonder if he expects his partner to just fall in line with what he says.
Yeah, no, I agree. He absolutely twisted her words. He made a straw man argument out of hers and basically was like, well, you can't do this because this, right? That's not a healthy way to disagree, right? And there wasn't even any kind of work towards, well, maybe we should look for a deeper truth. Maybe there's a line between what we have to say. Is there a compromise that we can come to, or something that we can say we both agree on here, some middle ground, right?
Right. There was no hearing each other out, trying to get a deeper understanding of the other person's perspective. It was just straight up like,
you're wrong, I'm right. You're teaching everyone how to be brats.
yeah.
What can you say in that kind of situation? Like, he took a situation that could have had calm discourse and made it emotionally spiral out of control, right?
Right.
And that speaks larger to his ability to resolve conflicts in the future. Does OP want to be in a relationship with someone where something that could have been talked about spirals out of control into this gigantic conflict?
Right. Like, anytime you have a disagreement over the kids, is he gonna, like, these hypothetical kids, is he just gonna make it out like and twist your words until you feel like you can't disagree with him?
Yeah. Not a good situation. Really is not. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why do zombies make bad neighbors?
Oh, Amber, zombies make bad neighbors because you might think it's because they want your brains. But it's not because they want your brains. And it's not because they eat people. While those things are true, that's not what makes zombies bad neighbors. What makes zombies bad neighbors is they tend to throw human parts that they've eaten over the fence into your yard, and then you'll have a giant pile of disgusting human parts in your yard. That's what makes zombies bad neighbors. They're disgusting slobs.
They're not willing to lend a helping hand, but they're happy to take one.
That too. They're very entitled.
It's National Do Something Good for Your Neighbor Day.
Yes, so if your neighbor is not a zombie, make sure to do something nice for them.
And it's also National Pizza Party Day.
Oh, throw your neighbor a pizza party unexpectedly. They'll never see it coming. I'm sure that won't make anything awkward at all between the two of you. Imagine showing up at your neighbor's house. Pizza time! I mean, it could either go one of two ways, really well or really poorly.
Exactly. Like, there's some people who be like, free pizza? Whoa, you're the best neighbor ever. And there's others who'd be like,
what have you done to the pizza? And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Oh my goodness, it's Friday. Congratulations, folks. We made it to the end of the week. And Amber, we need some kind of moral advice under guidance. And please have it on being a good parent.
Part of being a good parent means helping your child to exercise autonomy at an age appropriate level.
Yeah, I think that really works out well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.